welcome to another edition of YCPL Book Talks, where we highlight books in the library's collection. I'm Pearl.
And I'm Beth, and we both work here at the Tab Library. Today we're actually going to talk about books that feature sports. So our first book is Booked by Kwame Alexander. And it actually tells the story of Nick, a middle school soccer superstar, who dreams all day about playing soccer on the world stage, instead of paying attention in his English class. Unfortunately, his dreams are shattered a little bit on a big announcement from his parents. And the rest of the book follows what he does in the aftermath of that announcement.
Cool. That sounds really interesting. What did you like about it specifically?
Well, of course, it features soccer, which is my favorite sport. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that it is actually a novel in verse. That means that all of the text is written in poem format. Now, that doesn't mean that everything rhymes, and it's not like reading Dr. Seuss, for example. It is more of a free-flow verse, and it's more about the rhythm of how Kwame wants to tell you these stories. And the other thing that's really interesting is he plays a lot with form. So for example, when he says the word falling, the letters literally fall down the page. So it's really cool just to pick up for that.
That sounds really neat. What kind of readers do you think would like this book?
So obviously middle schoolers who are interested in sports, but this book does, while it is a little lighthearted, does focus on a lot of difficult themes that most middle schoolers are dealing with, or at least some of them. Now this one focuses on racism and bullying and a difficult family life. A lot of his books do focus on what it's like to be a middle schooler or a teen right now. So it's really appealing to those demographics and definitely gives them something to read that might reflect their own lives.
Cool. Is there anything else interesting about it that you think you'd want to share?
Yeah, so Kwame actually has written a lot of books, novel and verse. Two of my other favorite ones are Swing and Solo, and they both feature music as well as sports. I'd also want to let you know that we're going to share a link to a YouTube video of Kwame reading an excerpt from this book in the show notes below, just so you can get a feel of what Kwame wants you to hear when you're reading his books.
Oh, our next book focuses on hockey. And it is a young adult graphic novel called Check Please, Book 1, Hockey, by Ngozi, Ukazu. So, Check Please follows the story of Eric Biddle, who is a former figure skating champion turned hockey player who's about to start his freshman year at Samwell University in Samwell, Massachusetts. And he is basically very excited but very nervous because hockey is a bit more intense at this level than it was previously. He's very afraid of being checked, which means body slammed into the boards or knocked over. And basically this book is a story about his freshman and sophomore years, the friendships that he develops amongst the hockey team, and also it's a story too of him kind of finding himself as an individual, coming out as a gay man to his friends and to his family. And it is really, really great.
So who do you think might enjoy this book, actually?
Well, I think that you don't have to necessarily know a lot about hockey to enjoy this book, so I think hockey enthusiasts and hockey novices would enjoy it. As this is a graphic novel, there are a lot of really good depictions of the hockey games. And then, of course, they're talking in hockey speak a lot. So basically, if you didn't know anything about hockey before, you pick up some, but if you were already fully versed, it'll just be the cherry on top of the cake, as it were. I also thought that the friendships felt really realistic. The characters all get their own level of development that makes the cast feel really well-rounded. Sometimes in a graphic novel, you kind of feel like you learn more and you know more about the main character than necessarily the supporting cast, but I really felt like, everybody is their own person and they all fit together in the story in really interesting ways.
Excellent. Is there anything else you want to share?
Well, so this actually used to be a webcomic. It originally started as a webcomic. It finished this past April, I believe, and is now part of a 2-book set. This is the first book, as I said. So if for some reason you think that this sounds interesting, but you would rather read it online versus read it in this book format, you can just go online and check it out.
So the next book we're going to talk about is We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan.
It's a great cover.
It is a great cover, and it's actually why I actually picked it up, because I love the cover so much, and I was like, I have to know more about what this book is about. And it is actually a nostalgic adult fiction book set in the 1980s, and it follows a high school girls field hockey team who will do anything to reach the finals. And unfortunately, they're not very good, so it takes a little bit more than you would normally think. Thanks to their proximity to Salem, Massachusetts and its infamous witch trials, their attempts to get better take a bit of a dark turn as they start dabbling in witchcraft. So this is actually a really good book if you are in love with 1980s references, because it is jam-packed with that.
That sounds pretty quirky. What kind of readers do you think would like this?
So obviously anyone who maybe was a teenage girl field hockey team player, but you don't really need to know a lot about field hockey. Yeah, the sport is in there, and there are a lot of description about the games, but they don't fall too far into jargon, and anytime she uses it, she explains it. However, I really think that the people who would love this book are people who like quirky, kind of dark characters. Some people have said that those who like Stranger Things will like this book, and I think they're right. It's got a little bit of a dark atmosphere, a little bit of you don't really know what's going on, and as the book progresses, more and more layers are peeled back and you realize, oh, yeah, this is what's happening, all right. So it's very good for that if you're interested in that style of writing.
So is there anything else you would want to add?
Yeah, so for those of you who may not really like explicit content, I would warn you that this book does feature some, as there is teenage girls coming into their own. There is a little bit of sex, there's a little bit of drugs, and you know.
Just your general teenage debauchery?
Yeah, pretty much. However, I do think that if you're ready to sort of stretch your reading horizons and getting into the spooky season looking for a book that kind of has that atmosphere, this might be the book for you.
Cool. All right, well, our next book, our last book, I should say, is called Gravity by Sarah Demings, and it is a young adult fiction book that focuses on a young boxer named Gravity Delgado who is on her way, or at least trying to be, to the Olympics. She's very competitive, very intense, and she has been basically boxing since she was 12 with a very famous coach, and she's on track basically to make it all the way, but life has a way of, you know, derailing plans or at least throwing them off, so that's what this book is basically about.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a really interesting character and unique. Tell me more about what you like about it.
Well, so one of the things I really liked about this book is kind of seeing that intense training that goes on at a higher level and the dedication and the focus that Gravity has towards her boxing career and how committed she is to trying to make it to the Olympics. You really have to know a lot about boxing to enjoy this book. I personally didn't really know anything about it, so it was kind of nice to learn and to watch the training process and get a better kind of sense of how that world operates.
Sure. Is there anything else you want to share?
Well, so one of the neat things about this book is that the author, Sarah Demings, she's actually a boxing journalist, and she used to be a boxer in her younger years. She was a Golden Gloves champion in New York City in her weight class. And I think that that's really great because it kind of adds an additional layer of almost authenticity to just kind of, you know, making sure that the story is told in a way that feels accurate to the world that it is in.
Yeah, it sounds like a great book. I might have to pick it up myself.
Yeah, you might like it.
Definitely learned a little bit about books and sports and a little bit about what kind of sports we're interested in. Are there any tips you have for looking for new books?
Well, that's a great question. I know that we both commented on the fact that we liked that cover. I don't know anybody watching, if you judge a book by its cover. I wouldn't say I judge a book by its cover. I would say books tend to appeal to me based on potentially their cover and their title. But I would say that anybody who's looking for a new book, if you're trying to browse at the library, it's always a good place to start. Take books off the shelf and read the inside cover. Read that description from the publisher, or in some cases, it might be on the back. But that's going to give you a good sense of what the book's about. Now, that might be good enough for you to just take it home and give it a try because it's the library. It's free, so there's no harm, no foul in terms of taking something home and maybe deciding you don't like it. But if you want to take it a step further, one good way to find out whether or not a book would be a good fit for you is to look that title up online, perhaps go to Goodreads and see what other readers have been saying, or look on Amazon and see what some of the reviews are. But that's just a starting point. There are lots of other places that you can go to figure out if a book is a good fit. So,
And of course, you can always ask your friendly neighborhood librarians.
we're always happy to help. If you need book suggestions or if you want to know more about a specific title, feel free to go to the reference desk at either the Yorktown or Tab libraries.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We hope to see you next time we come back with a YCPL Book Talks. For now, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can stay up to date in everything that's happening at the library. Thanks again and have a great day.
Bye.